So the last video ended with declaring war on my local neighbor, Spain. And in terms of technology, I'm a bit ahead of Spain as it seems, since I've already created my first archers and he has still some slingshotters, so this is definitely an advantage. I also speed up things by a little bit, so that things won't get too boring. And as you can see, my archers, they take care of the first units of Spain easily. So basically every turn I'm capable of killing one or two of the enemy units. Now the cool thing about archers, or in general range units, is that if you fight with range units and you play kinda smart, then you don't lose anything and can inflict some harm. In different melee units, in order to inflict some harm, you will always lose health on them, meaning that you can attack one or two times and then you have to draw back your melee unit and heal it up. So therefore I'm more of a fan in terms of range units compared to melee units. Of course you will need some melee units. You cannot win the game only with ranged units because ranged units are not capable of taking enemy cities. And of course melee units can serve the purpose of just protecting your ranged units. And that is actually what I'm doing in the south. So the warrior unit I brought with me, I'm not really using it to inflict damage, but I rather use it to defend my archers from the Spain offensive. Now I think the biggest difference from Civilization 6 in comparison to Civilization 5 is the district system. While in Civilization 5 and basically all older versions, you were capable of building all your buildings and city improvements within your city, within the one tile. You now have to build districts. You have to choose which districts you want to build, and within the districts you can build specific buildings. And I think especially in the early game it is very interesting what districts you choose to build. And when I started the game I really liked building religious districts, holy sites. But for this game I decided to go straight with a campus site, which is basically the science district. Now the problem about this is since I'm not going for a holy site, I won't be able to found a religion because civilization works in a way that you can only found, I think, like 3 or 4 civilizations depending on the size of your map and the amount of enemy civilizations. And yeah, like I said, if I don't start with a holy site, I won't be able to found a religion. So therefore, well, let's just skip the whole religion part. I already got my Pantheon, so I won't be able to get any other benefits from religion. In the meantime, I was founding my third city, and you see I placed it adjacent to a river. There is also a new luxury resource, foxes, and also there is a copper field, so I will be able to create another mine, which is also very nice. As you know, Nubia gets some bonuses for this. And of course, later on, when I expand my borders by a little bit, I will be able to reach some more of these very nice floodlands. Meanwhile, my battlefront in the south kept pressing forward, but as you can see, even though I already destroyed a lot of the enemy units, more reinforcements from Spain are sent every turn, and there you see it, like the resource advantage of the artificial intelligence, especially in the early game, is really incredible. And since I'm expecting the war to go on for quite a while, and I'm expecting really a lot more of the enemy units, I'm constructing a war district within my third city. The cool part about the war district is even if you're not in war, it has its purpose because it boosts your production. But for me, the main purpose of the war district is not even pushing the output of war units, but it more serves as a tower, because war districts, if you have built city walls, are capable to attack similar to a city. So in comparison to other districts, you really have to think about positioning and finding maybe a good choke point where most enemy units might have to go through to attack your cities. Now, a very cool thing which just happened is that I found my third city-state. And this is very cool because it gives you the Eureka for researching the better politics. So then instead of 2 politics cards, I think you can apply 4 politics cards. And then you're able to apply more culture cards, which means you just get more bonuses in general. And in terms of politics, I pretty much always choose the politics with the least amount of military policy slots, because I have to say military politic cards are really bad in this game. So the choices for economic cards are much stronger. And now you see Spain offered me a peace treaty, and even though I didn't conquer anything yet, I didn't conquer any cities, they give me a lot of money, so the war was a full success. My units gained some experience, some combat experience, and what you want to get is level 4, because then your archers get a double attack. Aside from that, I also get lots of bonus gold due to this peace treaty, and yeah, it will help me building up my infrastructure by a lot. And also I weakened my neighbor by a little bit, so he won't be as overwhelming, hopefully, as if I would have just let him do his thing. And yeah, I mean, peace treaty just longs for 10 turns, then I can decide to just attack him again. Now, some people of you might have already figured it out, but I'm not playing on the original Civilization 6, but I am playing on the expansion pack, the Rise and Fall expansion pack. And there are some additional features. For instance, you can fall into Dark Ages or Golden Ages. Golden Ages actually give you like some really great benefits. And I'm on the way into a Golden Age. And to get into a Golden Age, you have to achieve some events, some milestones within the history of your civilization. For instance, if you clear a barbarian camp, this might add to your score to reach a Golden Age. Or for instance, the first time you build one of those Nubian archers, which are a special unit. And actually I was wrong, my score was not high enough. So I was able to prevent a Dark Age, but I didn't enter a Golden Age, so it was just a normal age. And after that you can choose how you gather the points in the future, how you gather historical points in the future. And I decided I get +1 point each time I get a Eureka. And I think this is kind of a nice choice for the beginning, because at the start there are a lot of texts you can research and a lot of Eurekas left. So I'm confident that I might be able to enter a Golden Age in the future, or at least that I'm able to prevent a Dark Age based on this choice. Now, another thing which came into the game with Rise and Fall are the city governors. Now, within your culture tree, there are multiple locations where you get a governor, or where you can promote a governor. And in the game there are not limitless governors, but there are, I think, 6 or 7 unique governors, and you can apply these governors into your cities. So in the end you will have 6 or 7 cities which will have a governor. And as my first governor I chose Pingala the Educator, so he's this Indian guy. And what's cool about him is if you, I think, have him on level 2 or 3, then he drastically boosts the production of great personalities, and I think this is super good. So usually Pingala the Educator is my go-to choice for my first governor. Now, instead of promoting Pingala to level 2, I choose to employ Reina the Financier. And she has a cool skill, it is called Land Acquisition. So what she does is that she just increases the rate, the time in which you get tiles, I think. So she basically helps you to expand the borders of your early cities, which is quite nice. And now if you look at the map, at the gameplay which is going on, you see that, well, the Spain guy made a little mistake. He brought a settler very close to my area, and this of course is an opportunity I won't miss. I redeclare war on Spain, attack this warrior protecting the settler, and then, since I have 4 archers right next to the settler, I'm also able to capture the settler. And yeah, as you can see, I look around for a fitting spot. There are really a lot of spots for it. Simultaneously, we just researched the civics culture, and now we are able to select 4 politics slots within our classic republic. As I said before, I highly prefer the governments without military slots or with a minimum amount of military slots. I mean, before I had combat strength +5 against barbarians, which is quite nice for the start, but after that, I mean, you won't face barbarians very often, and if you face them, they are usually not a big problem. At least that was what I thought at this moment. But also in terms of scientific progress, we reached a milestone. We got to the point where we researched mathematics, and as you can see, I try to set up the Petra. I just purchased a desert tile because you have to build the Petra on desert, on flatlands. And usually I don't create a lot of save games, so if I really do a big mistake, I just use the autosave function to fall back a couple of turns. But since I was scared that a enemy might finish the Petra before me, I just saved the game because the start was so good, and I really didn't want to lose this save game. So yeah, save the game, and in case that an enemy civilization might finish the Petra before me, I would be capable of falling back to this older save. Now if we look at the battlefield, we also see that everything is going nicely. So my archers are surrounding Madrid, and what they are basically doing is getting rid of the units protecting Madrid, and also this military district. I have to say, it is placed really nicely, because if one of my archers might get injured or into trouble, I can just retreat and put it into this military district, and it will be safe inside. So yeah, that's actually a really nice spot for a military district. Now once again, you see me scanning around for fitting positions for the settler, and I think what I wanted to do is I wanted to place the settler very close to Kandy, but now Kandy, which used to be a city-state, is now conquered by Spain. So I decided to maybe play a bit more safe and move the settler more to the west. At least I think at this point this is what I plan to do. Now a really good spot for cities in general is alongside rivers, because if you position a city alongside a river, you can build a water mill. And a water mill actually is super good because it gives you bonus production and bonus food, and with no costs basically, and it also increases the food output for the wheat tiles. And if you remember, my capital has 3 surrounding wheat tiles, so the water mill alone gives a bonus of 4 food and 1 production, which is really insane. So now of course what you also always try to do is to get additional luxury resources. So if you have 1 luxury resource, it's basically enough. So 1 of a kind is enough. You cannot use a second one. So I think what I tried to do with this additional settler is I wanted to get the luxury resource of turtles, which is along this coastline. And yeah, so now what we see here is that another civilization, the Scots, I think, are entering the world stage. And in comparison to Spain, they are not unfriendly towards me from basically turn 1. So they are actually willing to trade with me. And this is really cool because I have 2 units of salt, so I can trade away 1 unit. And once again, another really cool thing has happened. So there are a lot of great personalities within the game. I really love the system, and I got a really cool great personality because it allows me to build a library in a scientific district. Now within my capital I already have a scientific district with a library, but since I really try to push science within this game and to push forward within technologies and maybe get a military advantage, I also started building a science district in my second city. So I can now send this great personality towards my second city and just instantly build a library. Now if this wasn't enough, I was able to just deploy my third envoy within one of the scientific city-states. And having 3 envoys in a scientific city-state increases the science output of libraries. And as you can see, all these bonuses really come together perfectly, and yeah, they really push my science output drastically. And since I've reached my first milestone, the mathematics technology, I try to go for a second milestone, which will be the upgrade from archers to crossbowmen. So this is basically what I'm taking towards right now. Maybe not with the same high priority as before, but basically this will be the second big milestone I'm aiming to get. Something which is really astounding is that despite killing that many units of Madrid, he was still able to capture Kandy, as you see in the south, the city-state, and he was able, despite having stolen a settler, he was still able to build another city a bit west to Kandy as well. But all this war is really perfect for me. It seems like I will be able to capture Madrid, and with the help of the city walls and the military district, I will be able to defend against counterattacks. So I basically have a really great time in training my archer units. And as you can see here, this time, even though Spain offers me a nice deal, I decline the peace treaty because now I really see the momentum to take the capital of Spain.